Axel, talk a little bit about why you think we saw such a surge, first in gold and now more recently silver, which is now outpacing gold. Is that all pretty much an issue of what's been going on with the macro side of the economy, what's been going on with interest rates?
Well, I think there are two components. Great to be with you, by the way. One is fundamental and one is more human nature. On the fundamental side, the one aspect I think that's been underreported is that when trade is impeded, when a wrench is thrown into the global trade machinery, it's not just the flow of goods, it's also the flow of currency that's affected, meaning that foreigners are disincentivized to own treasuries, pushing up borrowing costs in the US. And of course, then the right reaction would be, because deficits need to be financed more domestically to lower deficit spending, and instead what's happening is pressure is increased on the Federal Reserve, and that wrench that's thrown, and ultimately that is what drives the exorbitant privilege, the ability to kind of borrow cheaply in the U.S., to invest for higher returns abroad. It's a process that gets disrupted, and because the gold space and precious metal space is fairly small, we can have outsized impacts. The weaponization of the dollar impacts it as well. The other side of that is the speculator. For several years, the speculator was busy with meme coins, digital tokens, SPACs. And historically, the speculator is in the precious metal space. They have come back. And the key contribution they make is that to add volatility. So we have a little bit of both. Fundamentals are impacted, the macro aspect, and then yes, they're technicals or speculators, whichever way you want to frame them.
How do you protect yourself? I mean, you're someone who's had an extraordinary year investing in gold, but also the mining and miners around that. When you're at this new peak, what do you do to protect your downside?
Well, for better or worse, we have a mandate. And so we are kind of stuck in what we do. But by all means, we do, of course, have the questions come up internally. How do you manage risk in this sort of environment? And I can't, of course, speak on behalf of what individual investors do. What we do on the mining side, which is a big chunk of what we do, is we focus on management teams. The scarcest resource is not gold or silver, it is good management. And so by being in the right stage of the growth where one supports them, one have somewhat of a protection on the downside. But of course, if you're in the space, if we were to have a significant downdraft, then by all means, yes, you would be affected as well. Of course, you can buy protection. The implication of that is, of course, that you underperform in the bull market. And so it ultimately comes down to what is your risk tolerance, what risk can you afford to take, and what do you want to take. As far as we're concerned, we're mostly interested in communicating of the decision we ultimately make, so investors can make their choice based on that.